What I want to know is how come a tough guy like you let some bacteria eat him for lunch? Was that all a lie? Answer me, Roger.
Dennis.
When talking about PS2 survival horror, most people immediately think of Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, as well as Resident Evil 4, Code Veronica, Outbreak, and many more. Extermination is not the first game that comes to anyone's mind. Yet this game was the first survival horror on the PS2 and it's still criminally underrated to this day. The poor game is like the ugly child of the PS2 horror series. Although I'm a bit biased toward this game as it was one of the first PS2 titles I had the pleasure of playing. But I also have 5 logical reasons why you should try it if you have not yet, or give it another shot if you don't have particularly fond memories of it. The game was developed by a studio called Deep Space, which only lasted for 2 years and produced just 2 games during its short lifetime. These 2 games were Hungry Ghosts and Extermination. Extermination was released in the middle of 2001, right before Code Veronica and Silent Hill 2, which probably had a huge impact on its reception and sales. Clearly the game isn't perfect, but to launch a new survival horror title in the shadow of 2 established franchises pretty much meant it was doomed to fail. Unless something groundbreaking like Dead Space had to come out a few years earlier, of course. The point is, any game released at that time would have had to show something truly new to survive. Pun intended. The story takes place in Antarctica at the Fort Stewart base on Christmas Eve in 2005, where members of the United States Marine Corps, specifically the Red Light Squad, are sent in to investigate. 72 hours ago, a request was received from an unidentified person at the Fort Stewart for an airstrike on the compound. Communications were lost after that request. The mission's goal is to infiltrate the compound and rendezvous at Ground Facility Building B-Wing. Naturally, as per survival horror game style, things don't go as smoothly as planned as the plane malfunctions and it's about to crash.
Mayday! We lost 2 engines! We're going down!
Emergency! Grab your parachutes! Regroup at Ground Facility Building B! Get ready! Now go!
Yes, sir!
The squad members have to parachute and try to carry out the mission on foot. We play as Dennis Riley, a member of the squad, who clearly has some internal conflict stemming from his past, which will be an important part later on in the story. Luckily, Dennis lands close to his best buddy Roger, and the two try to explore the base and meet up with the rest of the squad. It's worth noting that for some unknown reason the game was localized in 2 versions with different voice acting, unique marine uniforms, and our main protagonist having different hairstyle in each version. I guess Dennis could just visit the barber before the mission in the P.O.L version. This one might be obvious, but I'm not revealing any huge secrets by saying the game with its isolated Antarctic snowy setting was clearly inspired by the movie The Thing. Interestingly, this setting is pretty rare in survival horror gaming. Aside from Extermination, The Thing game and part of Code Veronica, very few titles use this setting. Of course, if we jump ahead in time, there is a game called Distrust, but The Thing was released in the 80s, so I found it strange that no one else really took advantage of this kind of epic inspiration. In the open world sections you can hear the howling, icy blizzards and almost feel the bone-chilling cold. On the other hand, once you enter the Fort Stewart base, it's warm, but it feels artificial at the same time and mechanical, with a functionalist design. This place isn't a Resident Evil 1 mansion where every room is different and stylish, with the backyard having a cemetery with a basement full of catacombs and a hidden laboratory beneath the mansion to add variety. The Fort Stewart is a scientific station, with transport equipment, a landing strip, water reservoirs, a train, a laboratory, and a break room for the staff. The base is a believable location, which is yet designed in a diverse and interesting way. What's more impressive is how the game uses the same locations differently. For example, after a major destruction, which makes revisiting these locations feel both logical yet interesting. I love how the game reuses environments by making them feel fresh. Fort Stewart truly comes alive in the game. It's almost a character in itself. For this very reason, it will be never as iconic as the town of Silent Hill or the Spencer Mansion. But with its logical design, it just feels lived in and believable. The sound design further enhances the atmosphere. The menu sounds are almost as epic as in any classic survival horror game. The music, though it's sparse, perfectly matches the atmosphere of each location and each event. Whether it's a track playing as you explore the silky corridors of Fort Stewart, or the music transitioning to an action-packed, urgent theme when the game shifts to more combat-heavy moments, the soundtrack fits flawlessly.
It's frozen solid. I should be able to break it now.
Even when you're outside in the relatively safe Antarctic environment, the music reflects the calm and coldness of the setting. It just pulls you right in and won't let you break out of the immersion. As for the gameplay, aside from the fact that this is likely the first third-person survival horror game ever, there is a lot going on. Oh, by the way, suck on it, Resident Evil 4. Or was it the first Silent Hill one with the unlockable over-the-shoulder view? I'm not sure. So there is a lot going on besides the camera, that's my point. Survival horror, limited ammunition, limited resources, action, platforming, melee weapons, boss fights. This game has it all. Also, finally, a horror game where the protagonist doesn't start off without a weapon or with just a handgun. Dennis and the entire Red Light Squad are equipped with an advanced M4 rifle, the Special Purpose Rifle, SPR4 for short. This feature actually makes Extermination groundbreaking. There are no other weapons in the game but the SPR4, which is highly customizable, keeping things interesting for the entire 6-7 hours of game time. Personally, it's one of my favorite survival horror weapons, if not the favorite of all time. The SPR4 has a top and bottom section that can be modified. The upper section is essentially a stock universal rail system cover. Out of the gate, it comes with a standard protective cover. There is also a dog tag receiver unit which you can add to the top section, which displays the location of any Marine's dog tag in range. This comes handy in general just for locating dog tags, but also at a specific point of the game when you have to find your squad members. The lower section is equipped with a tactical grip unit. The tactical grip comes with the SPR4 and also functioning as a flashlight. The SPR4 also includes a delta sight, interceptor unit, and several different targeting scopes such as a night vision scope. And that's not all, there are underbarrel attachments available, including a shotgun unit, flamethrower, grenade launcher, and missile launcher. And as I suggested, Dennis also carries a knife for lockpicking, bomb defusing, and of course, shanking creatures. While the underbarrel units have limited ammunition, the SPR4 can be reloaded indefinitely at the charging stations. This sounds simple and making it sound like the game is easy with unlimited ammo. But the ammunition runs out quickly and it's not so easy to take down the creatures. These enemies are pretty bullet spongy and can easily trap you if you stop to fight them, and things turn pretty bad pretty quickly if you get infected. Yes, another groundbreaking feature in this game. You can get actually infected, which can eventually lead to death. There are a lot of infection-based zombie and alien games, but Extermination is the only one where you can actually get infected and it can lead to your demise. By the way, I know about Outbreak, but it's better in this game. But do not worry, it's not the end of the world or the end of the game if you get infected. You can delay the infection with booster shots until you reach a recovery pod where you can use a vaccine to cure yourself completely. These shots and the vaccine, however, are limited in the game, and increasing infection level can reduce and limit the health bar of Dennis and also can slow him down. So things can get pretty intense until you reach a recovery pod. As I mentioned, the creatures in this game are very aggressive. There are these small ones, they come in numbers and able to crawl on the walls and even able to fly at you in short distances. Then there are the flying monsters, smaller quadrupeds, mutated humans, and soldiers, who fortunately didn't say goodbye to their weapons, so in monster form they are able to shoot at us. Some of these creatures even mimic human turrets that are able to shoot at you at one point. And let's not forget our favorite invisible bulky monsters which roam the outsides just when you thought you are safe from the horrors within the compound. And also the alien substance slowly overtaking the Fort Stewart itself, which can not only slow you down when you walk in one, but hide spy traps as well. Look, I know it's science fiction, but the best part is that the monsters make sense. They are mutated people, dogs, bats, and bugs, probably roaches, all of which could logically inhabit a place like Fort Stewart. The game easily could have followed the other horror games and use all kinds of mutated animals for the sake of abundance, but choose to stay grounded. And I appreciate that. The pacing of the game is incredible. It starts slow with a short but perfect tutorial section that teaches you the basics such as camera controls and platforming. From there, the game gradually makes you dig deeper into the compound, initially introducing a few creatures that seem harmless and easy to deal with for a marine. But as you progress, the threats grow more numerous and dangerous. And after all this, when you're ordered by the Major to go back deeper into the Fort Stewart to ensure all the detonators are in place, you almost feel like Ripley going back into the nest to save Newt. Then the game picks up speed and you face the first boss, then the second, and then the third one, all leading to your final goal of destroying the base and rescuing any survivors. It is pretty straightforward and linear, with a hint of backtracking and sidetracking. Just enough to feel like you are exploring the base, but not so much that you would feel doing the same things over and over again at the same locations. Look, I won't sit here and say this is peak survival horror without any flaws. Yes, the voice acting is comparable to the quality of Resident Evil 1. Even for me, whose first language is not English, it is noticeable. Yes, there is no inventory management or limited save system either. Yes, there aren't any compelling characters or deeply engaging story written around them that makes you care for them. And yes, there are no extra modes or incentives to replay the game, and no alternate endings either. But for me, due to nostalgia, there will always be a place for this game in the survival horror corner of my heart. And even after revisiting it, I still believe that based on the objective reasons I have given, this game deserves a first chance or even a second chance from anyone who truly loves survival horror. I was Gabe and I catch you in the next one. Until then, keep gaming.